Hello Stampers, this is Sheila with Stamping Wishes. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to be making this card. It's the Crayon Resist technique, which it's an old technique, but it always amazes me how pretty the cards come out when it's used. So we're going to do that today, and I'll go through what supplies we're using, and I'll go through the measurements first, but as we're using the supplies, that's when I'll go through it, okay? So this is the inside of the card, and it is a get well card. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so you're going to have two of the Whisper White, and they're cut at 3 7/8 by 4 7/8, and this will all be on my blog, so don't worry about writing it down. All the measurements, products, and everything will be there. And then I have two of the Mossy Meadows, which are cut at 4 1/8 by 5 inches. And then I have the thick Whisper White, which is cut at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I've scored it and folded it at 4 1/4. Now I've gone ahead and set up one of my pieces in my Stamparatus to make things move a little bit faster. So let's go ahead and ink it up and get our stamp done. Okay, and I love using my Stamparatus only because if I don't get that image as dark or as bright as I'd like it to be, like this can be just a little bit darker, then I can go over it a second time without worrying about lining it up. Perfect, like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean this off real quick and then set this aside. We might as well, while we've got our Stamparatus here, we'll go ahead and let that dry for a little bit anyway, and we'll stamp our interior card, greeting. So let me make sure we've got this lined up correctly. That looks about right, so we'll line it up with this little corner here. And I want to use Mossy Meadow for the greeting inside. And I'm using the new stamp set for the Magnolia is what we used on, bring them over so you can see the stamp sets that we're using, everything. So the Good Morning Magnolia comes in a 2-stamp set, and you can get the bundle and get the dies as well, which I do. I have the complete suite on this one. And so what I've used from this is the large Magnolia here, and then I've used this bottom. I just love that little design. It gives a finished look to the card. Then under my Well Said, we're using for the outside of it, which is this one here, Know That Love, Prayers, and Caring Surround You Today. This is a Get Well card. So I'm using that one from that stamp set. And then from Back on Your Feet, which I'm absolutely loving that one, I'm getting this, Hope You're Back on Your Feet Soon, since the person I'm sending it to had some knee surgery replacement done, and so it fit the exactly what I wanted it to say. And she probably would have enjoyed the turtle as well as part of it, and I may send her a second one along her recovery time with the little turtle on it. But for this one, I just thought that Magnolia was a perfect set for the Crayon Resist technique. So we'll set that aside, and we'll do our other top stamping that we have to do for the little greeting on the outside after I've already done all the sponging, gotten everything else together. And we'll wait to, because this piece needs to be sponged too, we're going to wait to attach any of that or try assembling any of it. So let's go ahead and get started on our Crayon Resist. So what you need is just a regular white crayon, and what you want to do is anywhere you do not want color to be, that's where you want to color with your crayon. So I'm doing the tips of the leaves here because I don't want any of the tips to be anything other than white. And I'm kind of making it more of a streaky motion like that. I think the colors kind of blend in a little bit, whereas there might be a little hint of color go through, and that's okay. That's what I want to do, and it looks more natural, I think. But you want to just go wherever, again, you want it to resist whatever color and keep your cardstock color intact. So that's what we're doing here. I haven't used crayons in forever. Used to be one of my favorites, just to sit and color in a coloring book. Okay, let's bring some down here. I think we want it right in here. Probably this area here. Okay, we'll come in here too. Let's kind of come in here. Let's see if I got it. Everything I want to get. What I'm doing here, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I can see the crayon marks, and I wanted to make sure I got it everywhere I wanted it to be on the flower. So now what I'm going to do on the leaves is, I don't want a lot of the white there. I want it just highlights here or there. But since the leaves normally won't have a white, they'll have a lighter shade of a green or whatever color. I don't want to put too much on it, but enough to give some pretty highlights. And then I'll use my blends to bring in some of the darker color. So I'm going to give it a little knot in that piece of what looks like a branch. And we'll do a couple over here. There. I think that's enough. Okay, so we'll set that aside, and I'm going to do my leaves first. So what I want to do is bring in my marker, or my blends with the dark mossy meadow, and I want to do my shading areas first that I know that I want some of the darker colors in, because I'll be using, I like using makeup brushes in my coloring of you know, where you normally would use sponges. I like to use makeup brushes. I get a softer effect with it, I think. So we're going to be bringing some couple of different colors in doing that. So we'll do that in a little bit, but I wanted to bring this dark in first. The leaves, since it'll be the base color. And I'll probably, through some of this, I will probably speed it up just a little bit, just to help with the timing of the video and everything. But what I'll do next, so that you'll know what I'm doing if I speed it up some, I'm going to be using the Pear Pizzazz first, and sponging, or in my case I'm using one of my makeup brushes. I get these on Amazon, and really love them. You just have, the only thing you have to clean off after, in between your stamps, is on like a microfiber or something, just to make sure you have all your color off. And because we're going to be coloring literally the whole piece of cardstock here, I don't mind if a little bit of the green goes over. Let me get my, I like to always have a scrap here for coloring off on. Okay, so let's just kind of bring this over and come off here and go over. And if you get on the edges, it's okay. You know, you can go over the edges a little bit, because you'll be blending some of your other colors in there anyway. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. bring in some of the petal pink for the center of the flower. Okay, and always test your brush to make sure that it comes out clean before you dip into your lighter colors especially. So here's our petal pink. Let's go ahead and what we'll do after we get all of our color on here, I will then take a paper towel and brighten up the white a little bit when you run it over, so you can get your center color. See, you can see how it's resisting all of around this area and how it just gives that shadow effect. It's a beautiful technique and can be used on so many different stamp sets. So I hope you try it if you've never tried this technique, and especially try it with these this particular stamp set. It really does come out pretty. So now I'm going to bring my petal pink all the way out on my card base here, letting it go over the greens and the white, because again it's going to resist wherever it's not supposed to be with the crayon. And as far as the green, it kind of gives to me a little bit of a shadowing effect behind the leaves, so I kind of like that going over the leaves a little bit when I'm blending the colors in. That's why I didn't mind if I went over. And always, to get a nice smooth effect on your coloring, be sure that you start off of the paper, and I've always used a circular motion because it seems to blend in a little bit better before you get into your actual cardstock. That way you get a nice soft effect that we're getting here. And you can bring in your edges as dark as you would like, or as light as you like. I'm kind of going towards the darker on the edges and stuff, so that I can have that lighter glow effect behind it. So we'll do that. And I always start off with a little bit of color and add as I need it, because if you get too bold or too heavy-handed with it and you get too much color, then you're not going to be able to get the effects or remove that deeper color. So I think that looks good like that. So let's go ahead and bring our paper towel in, and then you'll be able to see what happens. See how that automatically rubbing through everywhere that I put the white is now very bright and beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so let's go ahead and stamp this up to put our greeting, or set it up to put our greeting on, and then we'll be ready to start assembling. You can see how fast and quick this goes. So let's see if I've got this where I need it to be. I think once we line this paper up a little bit here, make sure we didn't get it off, and then line that up. There we go. Make sure that looks good there. Okay, I'm going to use my Mossy Meadow to do this, and hopefully I'm keeping everything in frame. I've set up a different filming area now to give me more room, and so I'm afraid that giving myself more room, I may not keep it in frame the way I need to. Gorgeous. Okay, so let's start assembling. Oh, before we do that, why don't we just add some of the, I did in this card, I don't know if you can see it, it has a little shimmer to it, and I did use my Wink Castella for that. And then I also wanted to add a little bit of the brown tones to what I consider more like a branch. So I'm going to come in here with a little bit of the light crumb cake, and then come back with the bronze color with it. I like that, the bronzy color. It's kind of a lighter, more reddish brown than some of the others, so I like using that. And then I'm going to come one more time, and then with, like I did with the other, because I do have some of the resist there, is I rub that off. Isn't that beautiful? Just that little bit of extra color does the trick. Okay, so let's go ahead and Get my wing Castella going here. And I just take it all over the flower. And of course it is going to, just like the other is, it's going to resist sticking to the crayon, which I'm okay with because it's going to go on all the other areas of the petal where there's not resist on it. And so it gives you that hint of glistening onto the card, which is just adds that extra touch to it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's really, really pretty. All right, I think we're ready to assemble them. All right. Okay, so let's get all of our card pieces back over here. We'll start with the inside and mat it. Let's get this over and move some of this out of our way here. Okay. And when you use Tombow glue, remember it doesn't take a lot, so just, you know, don't put real thick blobs of it on there. Just kind of, I call it scribbling it on, and that usually is enough. And the reason I do like using Tombow, especially when you're working with smaller matting edges like this, it gives you a little bit of room to move that cardstock around so you can get a better lineup of it. Okay, let's put this on into the inside here. Very pretty. Okay, so let's bring our magnolia in here and add it to its mat, and we'll put that on, and we have a wrap on another card using our Crayon Resist. If you like the video and you're on my YouTube channel and would like to see other videos in the future, if you'll hit the subscribe button and then hit the little bell, it will come up and send you reminders whenever I've posted a new video. And also, to get all of my measurements and supplies used, just go over to stampingwishes.com, and everything will be there that you need. And if you need to purchase any supplies and you don't have a demonstrator right now, and I would love to have you as a customer, so just feel free to click onto my store and order anything you need to order. If you need any catalogs, be sure and let me know, and I'll make sure that they're mailed out to you as soon as I get your mailing information. All right, beautiful. We've got our card done. Quick, easy, and a fun technique. So until next time, happy stamping and God bless.